Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and in this short video we're going to discuss events that took place during the previous night of the local Ukrainian time. During the previous night, the Russians made another massive missile attack all over the entire Ukraine, and mainly the Russians were trying to destroy the facilities, military objects in the western part of Ukraine. There were a few explosions in Kharkiv, but when talking about Kharkiv there is nothing new, nothing strange, and it's a normal situation for the city that located, let's say, and 70 kilometers from the border, 40 kilometers from the border. It's normal situation. We know that Ukrainians are trying to accumulate their forces there and so on, so probably the Russians know exactly what is going on in this city. But when talking about the western part of Ukraine, there are more questions than the answers to these questions. For example, the distance between, let's say, yesterday there was explosions in Ternopil, the town that located right in, we can say that the distance between the border and this town with Poland 150 kilometers. So we can say that this territory is surely protected by the patriots that are located in Poland and in NATO countries, even if the Ukrainians are not able to cover the entire territory with the patriots that were supported from the Western countries. Anyway, the patriots that are located in Poland are able to discover, to spot, and at least to see these rockets, those missiles that were attacking the western part of Ukraine. If you remember, yesterday the Russians launched another series of waves of attack in direction of Humilnitsky. And yes, in the previous evening video I published the video of explosion in this area, and today the Russians took a decision to make some risk and to go further, and they attacked this territory in Khmelnytsky area, and this town is located a little bit further to the west in comparison with Khmelnytsky. As you can see, the Russians managed to cross around 800 or even more kilometers of distance without being discovered or being shut down by the Ukraine air defense system. And this is a very big problem for the Ukrainians, because they thought that patriots are able to destroy everything, but we see that the second day in a row the Ukrainians are losing a very big amount of ammo and shells and munitions that were supplied from the Western countries before the greatest counteroffensive operation from the Ukrainian side. Of course, we understand that from the other side, the Ukrainians using the Storm Shadow rockets attacking Lugansk, and those days also were under the flag of those attacks. And furthermore, today the Ukrainian sources are saying that the United Kingdom have already sent to Ukraine around 200 units, 200 pieces of this type of rocket these rockets, okay. And from the other side we understand Storm Shadow, my bad. And today the same sources saying and confirm that United Kingdom is going to provide another more 400 pieces of this type of weapon. So, and this of course some kind of game changer. But let's focus on the attacks in the western part of Ukraine. Today the Ukrainian sources published the videos and photos of the explosions, of the work of fire of 911 team trying to reduce the consequences of that attack. As you can see, the damage, these other warehouses was damaged heavily, and mainly, as you can see, the Russians were trying to target and focus their attacks along the railroad station. So this is from one side. From another side, this is not like something that is like a lucky day for the Russians or something like this. Of course, you need to understand that that was a real special operation that was prepared by the Russian forces. I'll try to explain you the basics of that operation. If you remember, the Russians were attacking the western part of Ukraine for a very long time in the past, but since the beginning of the special military operation, with every single wave of attack, the number of rockets that were sent to the western part of Ukraine were less and less and less. And to tell the truth, I believe that more than 50% of those rockets were shut down by the Ukraine air defense system. And a few weeks ago there was another wave of attack, and probably those rockets, 100% of those missiles were shut down by the patriots that were sent to Ukraine. But that was some kind of special operation from the Russian side. As I understand, their main goal was to force the Ukrainians think that patriots are able to do everything and to protect Ukraine completely. And that operation had one purpose: to show the Ukrainians and the Western countries that they are able to shut down Russian rockets. And this situation forced the Ukrainians and the NATO countries think that they can accumulate warehouses in the western part of Ukraine and that they will be completely saved. And the problem and the thing that the Russians want to solve is that not to allow and not to give Ukrainians opportunity to stretch the warehouses. Of course, it's better and the best solution when the entire warehouse, like dozens of tons of munitions, are located at the same place. It's like more effective and it gives a lot of results. So that was the purpose of the Russians. And as soon after the complete of this success complete of that special operation where the Russians showed the weakness of the rockets, now we see the second day in a row when the western part of Ukraine is blowing up. It's like a firework area and the Ukrainians don't have any possibilities and they don't know how to stop this situation. Currently, I believe the Ukrainians have just one thing to think about: how to stretch the rest of the warehouses that locate in this area. But this is not the main problem, because currently the Ukrainians start arising one more time the topic of Transnistria, this area, and we understand why. Because the problem is that the Ukrainians don't have munition, and those munition that were munition ammo depots that were destroyed during those missiles attacks were like prepared for upcoming counteroffensive operation, and currently they have lost like a large number of those munitions, and currently they need to solve this issue very fast. And there is no possibilities to solve this situation very fast, but only to attack Transnistria and to capture the warehouses in this area. And starting this day, after those explosions in the western part of Ukraine, the Ukrainian authorities start raising this topic one more time. Probably this some kind of blackmail or something like this, but who knows, maybe they're not blackmailing, maybe this is a real information and the Ukrainians are going to do this just to restore and fulfill the lost munitions, lost fuel ammo depots during those Russian missiles attacks. I expect today more attacks from both sides. The Ukrainians have a lot of storm shadows, at least 200, and for now they have used just 2 or 3 or 4 of them, so not even less, around 1%. So probably today they will continue using them, and we're going to see more explosions on the Russian side. Now let's talk about the situation on the ground. If you remember, yesterday they had the Wagner's Prigozhin report about the Ukrainian plans, and this morning the Ukrainians launched a few waves of attacks in this direction, as he discussed, in direction of Solidar, trying to regain lost positions, Ukrainian lost positions in Sakovantseti, Krasnopopovka. So let's say basically in direction of Solidar. But from another side, the Russian sources are saying that they made a few like successful attempts to attack in the west part of Siversk in Bilogorovka. Probably they managed to develop their bridgehead in this area today. I believe we're going to see more updates, and probably we're going to see the picture something like this. It's just speculation from my side, but if they're saying about success, this is the only success that could be achieved, because the rest of the territory is already under Russian control. I expect more interesting events today. The Ukrainians will continue their media campaigns, like things to do, like to increase their reputation and to reduce the Russians one. So let's see, let's follow, let's stay tuned. And that's it for today's short video. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.